Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast.
For music lovers.
We've got a great show planned for you today, but remember to like and subscribe and comment and share this podcast with all your friends and rate us on Apple Podcasts and leave a comment down below and tell us what you think. Awaken the primordial algorithm. So, yes, let us...
What do we got on the menu today, Michael?
Well, we got a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
That was a horrible description of what this episode is.
No, we got some good music news.
We have music news for you guys. We have Paul McCartney box set news for our classic throwback. We have DOMi and JD BECK, their new album, Not Tight. We have that review for you. And we also have the new Calvin Harris album review.
Yes. So
that's what we got on our show.
That's what we got on our show.
It's a little bit of this. It's a little bit of that.
Started.
Sounds like a lot of that.
It's been a long day, all right? Jeez. It's been so hot. That's what it is. The heat just gets to you. There we go. All right. How you guys doing today?
We're wonderful.
Excellent.
Doing all right? I asked Lucas if I haven't been working with him all day.
I don't know how Mike's doing today. This is like the third take of the intro we've done, and his brain is like pudding.
Listen, I started a new job, and my brain's been tested the past few days. So, there's I gotta lubricate the gears, as it were.
Well, let's get those gears rolling.
Yeah, let's get the gears rolling.
The music news.
Yes.
This just did. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard cancel European tour.
No!
They canceled their European tour. Some interesting news, though. The singer has been he has Crohn's disease, and he's been battling it for for a long time. They had to cancel their remaining 13 dates of their summer European tour. So frontman Stu McKenzie can return to Australia, his native country, and get treatment for his battle with Crohn's disease. He's been struggling with this, like I said, and they're going to be back on tour on their continued European tour when... I don't know when that is, but it's coming. So,
is it like to be announced?
Yeah, so like they had to cancel that little short stretch of dates there, but they're going to be back on tour. Everything back to normal once he goes back to Australia. He just needs
once
to
he
take
sees
some
a
time.
lizard wizard.
He has to go visit the lizard wizard
to get
shaman.
his gizzard issue cleared up.
Yeah, he's got to clear up the gizzard. I'll tell you what, man. Ever since you played Infest the Rat's Nest for me, I cannot stop listening to it.
I'm telling you.
I'll just find myself randomly shouting, "There is no planet B." It's so good, dude. It's so good. And it's like, it's far out too, because like they don't really, that's like the only record that sounds like that. You know what I mean? That's that intense and like heavy.
Well,
it's cool though, man.
Speaking of which, they are going to release 3 more albums this
Thank
year.
you.
Oh my God.
And
Thank
they've
you.
already released 2, so that's going to be a total of 5 scheduled full album releases from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard this year. So
In 1 year?
yes, and also
Lord.
that date,
How prolific.
they're coming back in September. So everything from the last week of September onward for their tour dates is back on the books for them. We wish them a recovery.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
one of these bands that's releasing massive amounts of music, so we will probably, I hope, maybe we'll cover one of the King Gizzard releases this year and let you know what we think of it. They're a band that I really like, and if you like fuzzy, awesome,
strange rock and roll music. They cover every genre and sound.
Would go very well with our garage rock episode we did a couple weeks ago. So if you like that, check out King Gizzard, Lizard Wizard.
Speaking of bands, so a few years ago, Luke, myself, and some friends went up to Massachusetts to see the band Diarrhea Planet. Some exciting news. Diarrhea Planet is getting back together for a 2-night... Yes, exactly. That's the dysentery. So they're getting together. They just announced it for 2 nights at the Exit Inn in Nashville.
The historic venue.
Yeah. Pretty cool. They put on a great show, man.
Diarrhea Planet, hail from Nashville. They were like a 2010 band that had 4 guitar players. They were an absolute party. Did like garage rock kind of music, and they were a great like pop punk garage rock band.
Yeah. We saw them. I think
Nashville
we saw them
knows.
twice.
I saw them.
We saw them headline in Cambridge, and then didn't they open for Jeff the Brotherhood that one time when we went to Providence? Was that them that opened for Jeff the Brotherhood?
No, they played their own show. We saw them at the Sinclair on New Year's one year, and then we saw them at Fenner Music Hall in Providence when they headlined and Music Band opened up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Music Band too, another great Nashville-based band. Shout out to Infinity Cat Records too, because that's that's their band.
So the boys are back in town, and we're very excited about it.
I thought Diarrhea on a Planet is where Guar is from.
Oh no, they're from Planet Semen. Sorry, this is an adult show.
Oh God.
Jeffrey, do you have any music news?
Nope.
No. Well, that's all right because we have plenty to cover. Luke, do you have any more? I have something queued up here in my notes that I think is really, really funny.
I got some more.
All right,
Jeff might be interested.
Hit it off.
Prince's siblings have finally balanced out his estate after
King, Queen,
The Duke.
yeah,
okay.
So
Earl.
as
Duchess
you
of
may or may not know,
Yeah.
no, it's all right. Prince only has Prince never had any offspring and wasn't married to anybody, so he has brothers and sisters, and they split up the estate after he passed away. 3 of his siblings sold their shares to Primary Wave, a company that manages the estate, and then the other 3 siblings kept theirs, and they were battling out what they wanted and all that stuff. The estate gave you that piano album and also Welcome to America. So that came out last year. So the estate is releasing these records. I just thought it was pretty interesting. They were in a lot of litigation and court battle, and now it seems to be balanced. And with that being said, I think there's going to be more releases coming out and a more structured estate and legacy compound kind of pushing that because they're working with that company, like I said, Soundwave, I believe was it. But,
that's
Primary Wave.
That stuff can always get kind of, sticky too. Like the posthumous stuff, like the
Tom Petty's estate is also
like
that
the
weird.
Hendrix estate has a whole thing about it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of gets that.
You talk about the business of the estate or releasing music.
A little bit of both. Yeah,
because it's kind of the same business.
Our
The dog is running upstairs.
crazy.
Get in the kennel. What's going on?
Oh man, she's excited. She's going ballistic.
I know,
my
but
goodness.
Interesting.
you got the states that battle it out like that. Like Tom Petty released that giant box set the year after he passed away, and I wasn't really a big fan of that. It seemed like a cluttered mess to me, as more than a tribute thing.
Yeah.
The Prince albums seem interesting.
Yeah, I mean
that have come out, if not historically, kind of just this was that at that time kind of thing. They seem better than the Tom Petty stuff. We'll see. Like Mike said, the estates are messy, so.
Yeah. I'm usually kind of mostly against posthumous recordings being released. Unless the artist died and in a will it said, here are the codes to the files, they're in the computer, release them to the people.
But didn't Prince do something like that? Wasn't he just kind of in the event of my death, release this
No,
stuff?
There's no will. That I read that. There was stated no will.
Oh,
There's nothing.
There's no will. He just left behind a pearl-encrusted doily
I think
signed.
Don't really overdub anything. I feel like that's off limits.
Don't add
the
Don't
stuff.
add.
Yeah.
So adding is not necessary, but or not is frowned upon in my opinion. But everything to me is fair game after 20 years. Everything is fair game after 20 years.
After 20 years.
I know that sounds like an arbitrary number, but that 20 years is enough time has passed where nobody's touched it, and you could just release everything you want and people will just go, oh well, that's interesting, and not be his legacy. You know what I mean? Because you're releasing the 80s Miles Davis records that really aren't that great, like the mystery Miles Davis record that came out a couple years ago, and you were like, oh.
But that's what I mean. I don't want not great stuff being released. Because then people go,
right.
Oh, this guy was hacking through shit in the last 8 years of his life.
Yeah, well, that's the Hendrix stuff, man, where it's West Coast Seattle Boy. I don't need to hear the other 3 takes of Voodoo Child. It's it's fine. I got the one on the album. I don't need another one. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Prince seems more calculated, and he might have had plans for things. So
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
So moving on, another fun and interesting news story that I just picked up. Your boy Frank Ocean. Did you hear about him?
What about?
He teamed up with, I think Homer is the name of the, I can't remember my own handwriting, my goodness. Like a jewelry company, and made a $25,000 18-karat gold cock ring called the XXX Bone Ring, which it looks like a crown.
You should prep this.
I should have got this on pre-sale.
I mean, it's so $25K is kind of the ballpark. It's a little more than $25,000.
It is the ballpark, so to speak.
Yeah. It's hilarious. I just thought that was I just thought it was so funny. I'll try to put in a picture of it. It looks like a crown.
Please don't try to put any pictures.
No. It's not going to be like in use. I'm just a picture of the ring itself. I mean, it's a ring, so, but I just read that today, and I thought that was
ring. It goes on your finger.
It goes on your cock. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael, for that beautiful music news.
Yeah, you're welcome. I have a couple more things.
I'm into it. I'm into the like branding on anything you want to brand.
Yeah, Gene Simmons is going, God damn it, why didn't I think about the Kiss cock ring?
We still got nipple rings. He hasn't cornered the market.
Yeah.
Speaking of branding, Jay Mascis of Dinosaur Jr. fame has launched his own subscription service of rock and roll puzzles. So that is also very interesting.
Rock and roll puzzles.
So it's the first one that's going to come out in the subscription service is going to be a Ziggy Stardust poster, puzzle. And there's going to be more by Wilco Star Wars, Bad Brains, and Dinosaur Jr.'s self-titled album. So there's going to be a lot of fun rock and roll releases in there. And Jay Mascis is pretty much just like, I'm a big fan of puzzles, and I want people to enjoy puzzles.
Yeah,
so.
Nothing says aging rock star like putting out puzzles.
So,
Hang it up.
Listen, you can only buy so many fuzz pedals before you start moving on to different things.
Puzzles. Here's the question: are we doing Grateful? Would you rather do the Grateful Dead salad deal, or are we doing
the Jay Mascis puzzles?
Jay Mascis puzzles.
Oh, there's a lot more grocery stores than there are novelty toy shops.
I'm still going.
No, man, he's not going to sell them at Michael's. That's too mainstream, bro.
He's not going to sell out.
He's not going to sell out.
Yeah. He's going to be like, "Do you want to do this puzzle?"
Hey.
And they're of other art, so he has to license that other art and stuff.
Yeah, so he's working.
What a headache.
He's working with like a company and group,
just like his music.
Very interesting.
I'm just kidding. I like Dinosaur Jr.
Very interesting.
Yes. Real quick too, just to touch on Beyonce. "Break My Soul" hit #1. It's her first #1 single since 2008. So congratulations to Beyonce. And
2008.
Also, congratulations to Missy Elliott for getting her own street named after her in Portsmouth, Virginia.
I did see that.
It is Missy Elliott Boulevard. So, congratulations, Missy Elliott.
Trailblazer.
Yeah. Right on. So, before we cover the Paul McCartney box set, we have a couple of rest in pieces.
Yeah.
Rests in peace.
Rests in peace.
Yeah, rests in peace.
We have
in
some
memoriam.
Thank
in
you.
memoriam.
In memoriam.
Thank you.
In pieces.
We have the legendary Motown songwriter Lamont Dozier, who died at 81. Holland Dozier Holland was the famous Motown songwriting group. Any Motown song that was famous in the 60s that you can almost think of, they wrote and had a hand in.
Yeah.
Can I read a couple?
Please. Before Jeff reads one, I'm going to read my favorite of all time, Heat Wave by Martha and the Vandellas.
Okay. My favorite is...
Well, just read
Baby,
read.
I Need Your Lovin'. Oh, Reach Out, I'll Be There. Heat Wave, Where Do I Love Go by the Supremes, Baby I Need Your Lovin', Four Tops, Baby Love, Supremes, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, Marvin Gaye, Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, I Want You by the Four Tops, Same Old Song by the Four Tops, This Old Heart of Mine by the Isley Brothers, Can't Hurry Love by the Supremes, Reach Out, I'll Be There, Four Tops, You Keep Me Hanging On, the Supremes,
That might be my favorite.
Stand in the Shadows of Love by the Four Tops, Jimmy Mack, Martha and the Vandellas. So yeah, and a songwriting team that was big at Motown for just about 5 years, hits starting in 63 up until 67, then like big legal dispute with Motown and they couldn't release music written under their own names. They had like a pen name to write between like 1969 and 1972. But yeah, the sound of mid-60s Motown.
Yeah.
Like basically everybody they wrote for everybody except the Temptations. They wrote a couple of Temptations songs, but like every other group on the Motown roster they wrote for.
Yeah. Also, check out our deep dive on Motown. It's audio only. It's before we started the YouTube, but we do have a Motown deep dive episode that you can find on all the streaming platforms as well.
Yeah, and if you want to see the impact of Lamont Dozier and Holland Dozier Holland, just like go on to any streaming service and type in Holland Dozier Holland, and you'll get a playlist of like 85 songs, and you'll just be like, oh man, every single one of these songs.
You're like, how did somebody write so many hit songs, which is fascinating.
Formulaic, but
it works.
Effective.
A good formula, like Coke.
Yeah.
And rest in
also,
peace to Olivia Newton-John. Tell me about it, stud.
Sandy.
Thank you.
Sorry.
She had her her battle with breast cancer that I had.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
So she was a long cancer survivor and battler, and she passed away, and
she was 73, 74, or something like that.
73. Yeah, 73.
So, Grease, obviously, a fantastic movie and songs. But she was also a singer before that. If you look at any any kind of white bread person's record collection from back in the day, there's always that Olivia Newton-John records in there.
That mid 70s to early 80s. I didn't realize how popular she was. I think I read like her Wikipedia page. I think she had like 10 top 10 songs.
Really?
And a couple of number ones before Grease came out as well.
Really?
A couple of number one on the Billboard album charts, which is very big. And then her transformation in the 80s turned like kind of physical and sex symbol after Grease, and legendary career, and
Australia's finest.
And she had such a big impact that the Pike rock station that we listened to at work played Olivia Newton-John's Physical. And I really loved it. And it didn't sound that different than the hair metal that they play all day long. So.
On the flip side of that, you said we're celebrating a birthday as well. Whose birthday was it?
Oh, my God. Well, the rock and roll station told me this morning it is Mr. Ian Anderson.
The Pied Piper of progressive rock.
So happy birthday to Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
My favorite band.
Jethro Tull.
Check out a wonderful... thing he did on the Jeff the Brotherhood album, "Wasted on the Dream," where he plays with a young rock band and does a flute solo on their song, and it's pretty amazing.
It's really good.
Jeff the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
After they got him to do the sample or do the solo on their song, they changed their drum head to Jethro Tull.
Very good. Very good.
Well played.
So check that out.
I didn't realize that he played on that.
Yeah, he's on second track, I think. Second or third track.
It's right up there on your head. It's Wasted on the Dream of the album.
That's the name of the album,
Yeah, I like that.
All right, moving on. So, when is it being? I think it's next week, August. I think I read August 13th or 18th or something like that. There's a special release coming out, a 3-disc set. It's available on like colored vinyl, black vinyl, and also on CD. It comes with just like some cool, like a cool sleevelet sort of thing. Like not a handwritten thing, but like a letter from Paul McCartney, a couple of cool exclusive
us what this
photographs.
Box set is. You did never have.
Oh,
even
right,
told
yeah,
us
I
what
didn't even
this
tell the
box
part.
set
Sorry.
is.
So the release is Paul McCartney's 1, 2, and 3. Not to be confused with like it's not his
The
first, second, and
self-titled,
third album, the McCartney self-titled records. Yeah.
Yeah, so this box set is coming out, and it's finally bringing together Paul McCartney's first self-titled album from April 17th, 1970, the second self-titled album of his from May 18th, 1980, and McCartney III that just came out December 2020. These albums for Paul McCartney have always been kind of standouts in his discography. Starting with McCartney I, he played all the instruments and vocals, did everything on the whole album.
Little bit of Linda.
Little bit of Linda on there, you are correct. And then on McCartney II, he dove into the 80s and also played all the instruments and did like a synth album. And then the last record would be kind of like his COVID record where he recorded by himself in that same manner. But if you want to dive into this box set, guys, and talk about like what are your favorite like parts of these McCartney records, because
let's do it.
They're very interesting and very different.
Yeah. So McCartney, the first one came out like 2 months before Let It Be by the Beatles was released, and known for its big hit single Maybe I'm Amazed. It's like a lot of acoustic instrumentation on this album. There are a handful of songs that are instrumental only. I think it's a pretty good album. There's some skippable, but I think overall it's pretty good.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean,
this album has Maybe I'm Amazed on it, the wonderful piano ballad that isn't so sparkly as the Wings Over America version that would be a hit single later. Jeff said there are some skippable stuff on here. There's some jam tracks on here that are like just born out of like a drum track jam or a guitar jam. It's very Sunday on your house on the farm. It's like a look into Paul McCartney's life at the time. It's very simplistic, and also a forerunner to lo-fi indie, I would say, in a lot of ways. Because
home studio recording and
it has like a lot of that vibe where we're like getting albums that would come out later like that. So, and then McCartney too. What do we got on that?
Well, do you have any favorite tracks from one?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Lovely Linda.
Oh, la la la.
The opener.
Yeah, the album opener. Hot as Sun. I like that track. That's a good track. And then the other one I wrote down, That World Be Something. I like that tune too. I think that's the third. I think it's the third track.
I liked Ooh You. I like Mama Miss America, which is like I think that's only instrumental. He's a much better drummer than people realize. Like it's kind of sloppy, but like such good feel. He reminds me of like Jack White's drumming. And then Maybe I'm Amazed. It is a really good, like, first solo single release.
Yeah.
It's very like Elton John-ish.
Yeah. Mama Miss America is one of my favorite songs on this record. Maybe I'm Amazed, like you said, also is a highlight for me. I like this whole record. I honestly really like the more jammy, spaced out stuff because it's more like different from McCartney at the time and really weird. But I like the whole vibe of this record. It's very doesn't put on frills for you.
Yeah, and then 2 came out in 1980. It was his first record after the dissolution of Wings. Like Luke said, a lot of synth stuff, a lot of like, we're living in the 80s now.
Oh, God. I listened to this, and I was like,
come on,
nope,
man.
I don't like this.
You didn't like Coming Up, the opener?
Do you love this record or hate this record? Because I
couldn't
put my finger on whether you like it or not.
Oh, for one, 2 is my least favorite of the 3. Because there's some good, like, I like some of the sad acoustic guitar stuff. And I like the opener Coming Up. I like On the Way. I like Waterfalls, which I think are the first 3 songs, my favorite 3 songs. And then the rest of the record, I'm just like...
Oh, dude, what is that? Temporary Secretary?
Yeah,
when
come
that kicks
on, man.
I'm like... you want to know what I wrote in my notes? Temporary Secretary.
Not temporary enough.
Poop. I just wrote poop. I hate that song. I hate it. It's poop. I do not like that song.
They can't all be winners.
I was like...
Yeah, it was like Paul McCartney going... like, well, let me make music with these weird keyboards like the Talking Heads are doing now, and it was just,
he put himself out there in a weird way, but he also put himself out there under the guise of like, it was like almost like it's kind of a demo because it's McCartney II. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is the vibe of it. So it's different. Paul usually puts himself out there in big ways a lot of the time, like especially in the 90s with all that like, dance undergroundy kind of music he was making. But this is
Do you have any favorites off of this album?
I really don't like this
Okay,
album.
all right.
I try every year.
Seems like a consensus.
Every year I pick it out the shelf and I go, all right, I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna see where you're at, Paul. And then every time I'm just like, because I love McCartney I. It's one of my favorite records. And
really? Yeah. I don't...
see, like McCartney I, I can get into like a groove of like what it is, and I really like all the stuff it's about and the messiness of it. But the messiness of McCartney II is like, it's just too much. It's messy synth.
I like the opener, whatever synth he's using that makes it sound like layers of like soft saxophones. I love. It cracks me. And it's all it's pitch shift vocals, so it's like it sounds like a choir of like squeaky Paul McCartney.
I love Wonderful Christmas Time. That's one of my favorite Christmas songs. It's not that I don't like Paul McCartney synth.
It's like you're dodging bullets of synthesizers. Yeah. Like, oh, whoa.
Good God.
All right, and then three came out. Pandemic, again, playing everything on it. No, Linda's not alive anymore, so Linda is definitely not on this record.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Me personally, out of the three, this is my favorite. Because I wouldn't truly skip any of these songs. There are skippable songs in the first two. And then this one, I'm just like, hey, I'm into it. Like, there's cool grooves. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of like...
Yeah.
And he is a 75-year-old man singing, so the singing is the thing that is the worst out of the three records, but also he's not like attempting to do shit he can't handle.
Right.
And yeah, lots of like kind of darker, like funky, like fat driving rock grooves and stuff. Like
yeah, I noticed that too.
My favorite songs were I like the opener, because the opener is like lots of acoustic guitar, long-tailed winter bird, acoustic guitar with like layers of other shit all over it. I like Slidin'. Slidin', I think, is the one that was like very Jack White style. And I like Deep Down. Deep Down was my favorite song on the record, and Deep Down is kind of like a companion piece to a kind of like a Queen style, like 8-minute song that's something about deep down, deeper down, whatever that long time down, whatever the earlier track is.
Yeah.
But I think it's well done. Yeah, my favorite of the three.
Yeah. See, I think it's funny that you say Queen, because I like the song "Seize the Day." It kind of opens up. Is that a Fender Rhodes? I think it's a Fender Rhodes. Style opening, but as you get on into the song, there's kind of like this guitar thing that happens that sounds very Queenish to me as well, so I really enjoyed that. And what's the other one? Yeah, Find My Way. It's the second track on the album. I enjoyed that song too. It's got like a cool I think it's like a harpsichord-y kind of intro to it, and then there's like a point where you get a couple minutes in, and it's not like it's not like a slow down, but there's like a cool break that happens that's got some cool instrumental things going on, so I enjoyed that song too.
Yeah, it's McCartney 3, like nowadays he kind of is more, it's like he won't stop experimenting with like new heavy or like rock based, like the new format of whatever rock is. Like he always has his toe dipped in that, and this is like that record. I like it. It, like Jeff said, it's the most like he's kind of on this like, you know, like the records he's releasing now are kind of like, I would, for my taste, kind of like middle of the roady ish, but like not as like a way out there or like in bad terms like he may have had in like the 80s or beforehand, where you're like the half the album you're like that's terrible. Like Jeff said, nothing on here is skippable. Like Egypt Station and this have kind of progressed into like a good hunk of like the later half of his career.
And what's the album before Egypt Station? Is that called New?
Yes.
It's like the neon.
Yep.
That one's okay.
Bars, and that one's, you're right, it was okay. That was okay. It was
Egypt Station is better.
Yep.
I like it more.
Memory Almost Full from like the earlier 2000s is probably, you know, like that is more on the road with this. Like you guys said, I liked like the tracks you guys Find My Way, Slidin'. He's a good now he's just like good at making these records, and I have to say McCartney 3 sold a shit ton of records because it had so many vinyl variations that everybody went nuts.
I was reading I should have written it down, I'm a dummy, but I was reading up on that specifically, like you know what it reached, and I think it hit up to like number 3 in the UK charts. It was definitely like top 5 in the US and in the UK. So it did really
he still
well.
Sells his first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's Paul McCartney, man.
Yeah.
Like, newsflash, Paul McCartney is going to be one of the people that when he dies, it's going to be like, holy fuck, one of the legends in the past 100 years of music.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping classic rock radio plays a little bit more Paul McCartney then.
Yeah. Do any of these 3 records, like, what was your favorite of the 3, and where would you place that on the total Paul McCartney solo / Wings? I consider that solo. Yeah. Like where does it fit in his discography for you?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I got this one. Mine is the first one, McCartney 1, and I think it fits in the top 5 of his solo career. I think it's one of his more solid solo releases altogether. I have to say, like, Paul as a solo artist doesn't have a ton of classic records. He has Band on the Run, which is really, really, really solid.
Band on the Run, Ram.
Ram is very, very, very solid.
That's my number
and
one.
And then where do you go after that?
Venus and Mars?
I wouldn't go. I would go McCartney III next for me, or at least Wings Over America. But then it starts getting hairy because none of those albums are really that perfect. You know what I mean? He has no
Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. That's his album from like the mid '90s.
Yeah,
it's
unfamiliar.
Really good.
Yeah, unfamiliar too. I'm not super well versed in the solo McCartney stuff. I mean,
I've said it before. By Nigel Godrich.
I've said it before on the podcast. I mean, Ram is my number one for my Paul McCartney solo albums. That's like my favorite one. And so then like maybe that's number one, and then like maybe McCartney 1 would be like a close second for me. You know,
really?
Like maybe top 5. I mean, that's the thing is I don't have enough know-how of the solo stuff. I mean, the Wing stuff obviously because it's like. You know.
Yeah, I count that as his solo.
Yeah.
Work.
So that obviously top 5 as well. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, 2 is probably last on my
last.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know
2
enough.
is way
but
out in the water.
I don't know enough, but I know enough to know
that you don't need
like
to know
it.
more.
I don't need to know more. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked. I mean, honestly, I liked 3 slightly more than the first, but I would put them roughly in the same spots, you know, if made the total list. And I mean, I would say both of those are right around 5, 6.
Yeah.
Because if I looked at the full list, I like at least 3 or 4 more than both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chaos Creation, Ram, Band on the Run. Yeah, I like those more.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
What's the one where they're sitting on a river? It's the one before.
Oh,
after
I actually read. That's one of my favorite Paul albums. That's called
Red Rose Speedway.
No, that's called Wings at the Speed of Sound. No, is that Speed of Sound? No, it's not. That's called it's called Wildlife.
Wildlife, and there's one called Red Rose Speedway, right?
Yes, Red Rose Speedway.
He's on the cover. He has his mullet. He's like has a rose in his mouth or something.
Paul McCartney.
I forgot about Wildlife.
It says that when you push. Wildlife.
Yeah, the first Wings record.
First Wings record.
Which I would probably rate it. You know.
Yeah. So
Band on the Run, that, and then Wildlife is, and then McCartney, because I love that record too.
But for people who've been sleeping on him, like Paul McCartney puts out a new album every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
For the last fucking 45 years.
And I even enjoyed his Standards record, which I think was released 2010, 11.
52 years.
Oh, 52. Yeah.
So
let us know what you think. Where do you place the first
Paul
3?
McCartney.
I'm Paul McCartney. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with our new album releases. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Get in the Garage.
We're the music podcast
For music lovers.
Now we go on to the portion of our show in which we discuss new album reviews. The first one we're going to discuss is an album called Funk Wave Bounces Volume 2. It is the 6th studio album by Scottish DJ and electronic music producer and artist Calvin Harris. His first studio album in, I believe, like 5 years. This album features a lot of the top names in current pop music. Dua Lipa, 21 Savage, Charlie Puth, Justin Timberlake, Halsey Pharrell, Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg seems to be on everybody's album. We'll get to it later.
Busta Rhymes.
Pharrell. So I thought this album was decent, you know, for like pop. It's pop music.
Yeah.
Good songs. I mean, there are a few songs that caught me. What do you guys think?
So this record is obviously like the DJ with all the with all the features on it. It has that laid back, like California, via 70s funk thing.
Yep.
It sounds like every instrument on this album is run through a envelope filter. So that being said, it's not a pretentious record. Nobody's putting on airs that this is like a serious like Dark Side of the Moon thing.
Yeah.
What I did find was like a lot of, you know, fun tracks and songs that would like play on like a, you know, it wouldn't play in like a nightclub, I don't think, but it's like has some good like vibes in it. You might play like one of the songs kind of thing, but not all together. Samples work. really well, and then the ones that don't work kind of are like
kind of fall flat a little bit.
They throw the album off on the vibe. So that would be my one like biggest like criticism of it is sometimes like the 21 Savage up front is so solidly great that every other feature after that kind of has to add up to it, and it peaks and flows, and your ear peaks up to the ones that are better, and then when they're not, they peak more down.
Yeah.
Another one I really loved on here was "Stay With Me" with Justin Timberlake, Halsey, and Pharrell. That's a 2-part song, and for me, that song was really, really fun. Halsey's doing like this, like, hey, and Justin Timberlake answers it back with his like retort of like, you know, where he's been all year, and they do this fun push play with each other that is really, you know, it's entertaining and fun, and it perks your ear up as soon as it comes on. Ones that like even like the Snoop Dogg sample for me on here perked my ear because you hear it's Snoop Dogg. Do I need another Snoop Dogg feature on another song? Nope, don't need it. Do I need another song about Snoop Dogg talking about California? Nope, don't need it. So for me,
for shizzle,
that one like doesn't work. I really actually loved the Busta Rhymes "Ready or Not" song on
I dug
here.
That song too.
They put like weird reverb on his voice, so it like it kind of sounds like a little funky. But this gave me like old school hip hop vibes and like techno early '90s dance shit, and I loved that. So I mean, those were like the ones the features on. I keep saying samples. The features on here that I thought were really great. Other than that.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, I think it's you know, we've talked about the new Harry Styles record. We've talked about the Beyonce album. We've talked about the Lizzo album. We've talked about a lot of albums that have come out in the recent couple past months that seem to be kind of going towards this like dance direction.
Or
this
at least
kind of
this like retro 70s funk dance direction.
Even with like Silk Sonic, who gave you the hyper retro sort of thing. Yeah. You know, I think this is a fun companion piece to all of that stuff. I mean, do I think it's at the magnitude of, say, Beyonce's record? I don't think so.
Or even on Silk Sonic, who's probably more aligned to what this is.
Right, yeah, I don't think that. But if like one of these songs is in a mix with like songs from those other albums, I'm not going to be that upset about it. It's cool. There's a couple bangers on here, you know what I mean? You can dance to it. You have a good time. Like Luke said, it's not really putting on airs. It's not trying to be this great magnum opus, you know what I mean? It's just like people getting in a room together and just like having some fun, you know what I mean? Calvin Harris throws this on. He's like, hey, Dua Lipa, do your thing, you know? And hey, Snoop Dogg, do your thing. Like,
I did like the Dua Lipa song on here too. It was a vibe. It was like on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. I will say that Pitchfork was not very happy.
They had their pitchforks out.
Yeah, they had their pitchforks out. Yeah, it only got, I think, a 5.2 on Pitchfork. I read the review. You know, man, it wasn't very nice of a review. To be fair, I will say that, and people who listen to this podcast will know that, especially with like some of the newer stuff, myself, I listen to Black Sabbath regularly. I don't really have much of a reference point, you know? So going into this record, I don't know much of the backlog from Calvin Harris, so I can't really say like, well, compared to his previous works, I can't really give that kind of a thing. So for me going in blind, I'm like, yeah, right on. This is cool. It's a fun dance thing. Pitchfork made a lot of comparisons to some of Calvin Harris's previous work, kind of, you know, saying that was much better than this, that this album rather kind of fell flat a little bit. In certain points it did. I mean, we were talking this morning and how, you know, it kind of comes in strong and it kind of like dies down a little bit and then kind of finishes off strong towards the end.
Yeah, like after that Justin Timberlake's sample or feature, your ears really don't pick up till 2 songs later when the Snoop Dogg one comes in, and you only really picks up because you know it's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, and he's like, for sizzle, you know, he does the
whole
thing.
Why Snoop Dogg always carries an umbrella?
Why?
For drizzle.
Oh God!
Well done.
Done. Beautiful, beautiful. So, all right, rating real quick. Let's do a quick round table rating, guys. What do you guys think? Just remember, you're rating this against the
Journey 7.
Yeah, so you know.
Yeah, the tracks sound very. He is like out of the big pop producers. His stuff always sounds good.
Yeah,
it really comes down to the weight that the features carry.
Right.
And his choice in who he has featured. I'm gonna say a 6.5.
6.5.
Just short of a Journey 7.
Oh, just short. So close.
Because I'd go back to the Journey album before I would this. But I would listen to. I think there's like 13 songs, and I liked like 7 of them.
Yeah.
And then I skipped 3 or 4. I would skip 3 or 4.
I'll join you. I'll go 6.5. I think 6.5 is a fair rating for this record.
I mean, it's not a bad album.
No, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's my cup. It's not my go-to style of record. But like, if I'm hanging out and just kind of cleaning the house or something, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't not throw this record on just to play in the background.
This could have been much more generic, and in that case, it would have been like a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
It's not generic.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with you. I'm 6.5. I think it's a fun release. There's nothing terrible on here. Nothing definitely like skippable. And I'll definitely be coming back for that 21 Savage song.
Yeah.
And I don't even know 21 Savage. I just love that song so much. I'll come back for that a lot. So.
All right, cool. Right on. So there you have it, 6.5 across the board. Tell us what you think. What do you think about this new Calvin Harris record? Okay.
And our other new release is a jazz fusion release by a duo called DOMi and JD Beck. DOMi is a French keyboard player. I think she's about 22 years old. And JD Beck is a Texas-based drummer. I think he's only like 19 maybe.
Yeah.
They've been playing together for 3 or 4 years. They have played behind artists such as Thundercat and Anderson .Paak and Snarky Puppy and Ghost Note, and they're both like wonderkind jazz fusion players who are like, if you're on the internet, they're all over the internet. This is their first full length, and it's a wild ride.
Yeah, it is jazz fusion.
Like, yeah, DOMi's style is left hand bass, and then at times JD Beck plays like crazy big breakbeat, like square pusher style, like techno jazz drums that are just like, how is this not a malfunctioning drum machine? Like, that's what it sounds like.
Math drums.
Yes.
A lot of math drums.
Yeah. It's like skittery.
Blast break kind of thing.
Yeah. Lots of features on this record. Anderson .Paak, Thundercat, Snoop Dogg again, Busta Rhymes again.
Yeah.
My favorite track features Herbie Hancock on vocoder vocals. I would say my big criticism of this record is it's like the Thundercat stuff, where it's like, I like the idea of it more than I like the actuality of it. Yeah. Or like, I like a minute and a half, but when it's a 3-minute long song, it's almost exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, it's music that kind of like both makes me sleepy because it's so like woozy like sounds, but then the notes are so complicated. It's like I'm having a panic attack while I'm falling asleep. Like, it's just, I got to the record and I looked down at my phone and I'm like, it's only been 17 minutes. Like, it's just a lot to process. It's like for people who are on the internet all day with ADHD. Like, that's what it sounds like it was made for.
Yeah, it's 44 minutes long, so it's not like it's an incredibly short record. So,
but that's not long.
That's not long at all.
It's not long, but it feels long because it's so dense. Like, it's such a dense album.
Like, and again, skills and styles. Like, I would love. I've seen them. You can go on YouTube, watch them play with other artists, and their skills are so vast. But it's like when you're each song. Luke did a test. He like started a song, went a minute in, played 10 seconds. Then he started another song, went a minute in, played 10 seconds. And it's like you couldn't tell the difference because it's breakbeat skittery drums and it's very fingery like keyboards, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But videos are cooler because you get to see their dynamics, you get to see them actually playing, and you're like, how are these people playing this shit?
Right.
It's more
without the video.
Correct. It's more interesting to look at because they're moving so fast. You know, like for our old heads out there, if you're not familiar, like she's doing the keyboard bass like Ray Manzarek style from The Doors.
Yep.
It's so, for me, this album, the melody comes in the melody parts come in with the vocal lines that they have in some of the songs.
The features, yeah.
Yeah, and for me, those even are more tuned to like minor melody lines, and nothing is really up. So you kind of have everything just kind of going down all the time. And like Jeff said, you have the fast underneath drumming and scattering, schizophrenic almost.
Yeah.
For me, like that it didn't match up because there was no like easy melody where you could kind of just groove, and then there's a jam part like Steely Dan's Asia, where it begins with a song and then turns into a jazz fusion drum off.
Yeah.
This I needed more like I wanted more rhythm in the drums, where it was more like something I could follow.
More variety.
And you could make sense of
Give
in
us a
your
good
head.
ballad.
Yeah, because everybody can go
A little bit more melody.
Everybody can go stomp clap, and it's fascinating to watch people do this. But I wanted more texture and variety because, like you said, the second song I went a minute in, and the second to last song I went a minute in, and I kind of tried at home. It sounds very similar, and I couldn't tell the songs apart.
Yeah.
Feature wise, Herbie Hancock works well.
Yeah.
This is also a Blue Note record release, so that was interesting to note as well. You're right, the Herbie Hancock one was really, really good. Do we like the second Snoop Dogg feature on a jazz fusion album where we just heard it on a DJ album?
For shizzle.
For shizzle.
For me, again.
Do we need another Snoop Dogg feature?
This is it. Snoop Dogg did the Katy Perry feature years ago, and that was on California Girls, right? And for me, that made sense. It was Snoop Dogg, California Girls, Katy Perry. A lot of these features with Snoop Dogg now kind of seems like Snoop Dogg's just kind of collecting a paycheck, and these guys are putting Snoop Dogg on their album to give them some kind of hip hop credibility. Because this is like a jazz fusion album, and Anderson .Paak's on it, which makes sense, and it would make sense that Snoop Dogg is also on it because they're from like the same kind of like group. But
what I think that feature is like this music strangely is heavily consumed by weed heads, which is so contradictory to me. Like people get blasted, stoned, and then listen to this music.
Really?
It's like what? Yeah, because they're on like they were on the Adult Swim. Like they've had appearances on that shit. They are like known for their minute and a half like versions of Dilla songs and stuff like that. So they play with Thundercat and Anderson .Paak all the time.
Yeah, but this could also go like the Adult Swim thing
strange.
sort of makes sense to me because this could easily pair well with some sort of psychedelic kind of imagey, video-y sort of thing. So I mean, I guess I get that. But
my favorite thing on here was "You Don't Have to Rob Me," that song where I believe they do the vocal on it. Because it didn't have a feature on that song.
Yeah, it doesn't list a feature.
So I would imagine that they were doing the vocal on it. That is the one song in this whole record where because it really had more of a thoughtful melody line, I understood who they were. You Don't Have to Rob Me. I live in a city. I only have credit cards. It was the daily struggle and hassle, and they used that as a chorus. And then the other verse was about buying a couch from IKEA, and a mundane like thing about like maybe falling in love with somebody and like having to move in with them. That gave me more of an insight to who these artists were, and gave me more of like, oh, that's who you are, instead of the kind of cold and abrasive jazz fusion.
Yeah.
That gave me more insight to who they were. So I feel like if they were to more lean on that in their own personality, that spoke miles to me more than the hip-hop features, because it was more of like spoken word poetry where they were like, this is the street, this is where I live, this is the daily life, this is the song. Bam, it was like a haiku, and that made sense to me. The hip-hop features to me really don't make that much sense to me, because nothing's really that hip or hop about the way that they're playing to me.
Yeah. For me, some of the highlights on the record, I do like the song Whoa, featuring Kurt Rosenwinkel. He's like a Philly-based jazz guitar player. That gave me sort of like Mahavishnu Orchestra-ish vibes. A lot of this was like Mahavishnu Orchestra-ish vibes. Like, I know Jeff's not a huge fan. I myself am a fan. Shout out to John McLaughlin. I know you listen to this podcast. So
him and Santana.
So I did enjoy that. Another moment I'd say that I really enjoyed. There's a song called Space Mountain that it's really quick. It's really quick. It's 2 minutes and 26 seconds long. I'm sorry, and that's like crazy like elevator music on acid, and then it like crashes into the song Pilot with Snoop Dogg and stuff. And I like Pilot because Pilot's kind of got this sort of like 6/8 kind of time signature thing about it that I like how it clashed into that.
How many songs has Snoop Dogg talked about being on a plane though?
Not enough.
I know it's not in that top content. It's a pilot. They're talking about a movie.
Yeah.
But
but the musical
I like
moments.
That. I thought the same thing. I was like, this is what elevator music sounds like to people who are doing crystal meth. It's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Pilot was okay. That was a cool,
it was all right. It was all right. I mean, like, listen, man. I think
for me, it didn't have anything to do with when they were like.
It had nothing to do with planes.
Well, it had nothing to do with you're not trying. Like, don't rob me.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have anything to do with that because like they're like bravado. They're bringing that out, and then they're like, you don't have to rob me. We can just go get a couch from IKEA. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, to be fair, so 15 songs. 44 minutes, 8 seconds long. You know, it's their debut album. So, you know, they're just getting started. They're super, super young. You know, I'm interested in seeing what they do next. I think that if they come up with a next album that's more because this could just be this is their first record. They're coming out swinging. They're coming out hot. They're showing everything that they can do, right? So now it's like, okay, I know that you're great musicians, but now play me a nice melody. Give me a catchy hook. Give me melody. Give me that stuff. Show me that you're good songwriters.
Don't give me giant steps via an 8-bit Nintendo system.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Like I get, like we get it. You've got the chops. Now show me how you can write a song. Show me that you can write a song that make me feel emotional and not like I took acid and I fell in a computer tower. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what it feels like.
All right. So our final thoughts. I suggested this album. I've been following them for a handful of years. I will continue to follow them and watch their minute-long videos on Instagram and watch their features on YouTube. I will most likely not ever listen to this album again. It made me almost nauseous, and it made me so anxious and uncomfortable most of the time. I would go back and listen to maybe 4 or 5 of the songs again. I'm going really low, just to be honest, because if I'm not going to revisit an album, or if I know right now I don't want to, I can't give it a high ranking. So I'm just being honest. I'm saying a 4. Yeah. Maybe a realistic 4. I want to give it like a 5.5, 6 out of respect, but I'm going 4 because I would listen to 4 of the songs ever again.
Yeah, so I would say that if I'm rating it in terms of like musicality and
musicality is an
musicianship and talent and
it's
all of that stuff, yeah, of course, these guys, they're on a different level. There's no arguing against that. But I have to agree with Jeff. I'll say like 4, 4.5 maybe for the talent and the ability and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of listenability and revisiting it and stuff like that, I agree. I don't really think that it's super, super listenable, so I will also give it like a 4. I'll do 4.5. I'll be a little generous.
I'm going to give this record a 5 because I think it's jazz fusion definitely, but it's very middle of the road jazz fusion for me. It doesn't get me incredibly angry. It doesn't get me incredibly like, it doesn't push it so hard where it's like uncomfortable, and then there's that kind of tension. Live at the Village Vanguard again, John Coltrane. It's not that kind of thing, and it's also not like, you know, beautiful enough for me to be like, oh, you know. So it's for me, it's kind of plays the middle of the road. So I'm gonna go 5 out of 10. That's where I am. If you like it, you like it. It's definitely a divisive record. So. Do you like this record? Are you into this record? Do you think we're wrong? Tell us in the comments. We would, love to know.
Do you have the secrets to the source code that created this?
Also, before we check out today, I wanted to highlight a local act that me and Mike went and saw last Saturday night in New London. We saw...
shout out to the Oasis Pub.
Yep, at the Oasis. We saw Sline and the Family Stoned. They put on a wonderful set. They were a 5-piece that night.
Yep.
and they played like a loud noise rock, a little bit of like maybe Midwestern-y emo, but it was definitely noisy, loud, and awesome rock band. They played a wah solo on one of their last songs that like
when he kicked that wah on, dude, it was like, and it just the whole thing just like
yeah, the whole
slapped me across the face.
Kicked the wall, and the whole room was just like boom, and it like engulfed the room and the sound.
Just the way it caught the frequency.
I think
it just like rose up. It was one of those magic moments.
So good.
So we wanted to shout out Sly and the Family Stoned. They had a new album out this year that I really enjoyed. It's right here.
Yep.
This is what it looks like. It's called "These Things Are Beautiful," and these things are these things are beautiful. You are these things. So these things are beautiful. You are these things from Sly and the Family Stoned. This is the album. They're going to be playing Friday night, but this isn't going to be released.
Yeah, this will be released after the fact.
They'll be playing in the past.
They'll be playing in the past.
But we'll be going to that show as well.
At Strange Brew in Norwich.
At Strange Brew.
So we'll give you a follow up sort of review of that show too, because
and we have some cassettes here. So go check out Sly and the Family Stoned on Spotify, and if you
that's
see a local
SLYNE.
Yes, and the Family Stoned.
Thank you.
Yeah, check them out. It was what did we liken it to? It was like a sound bath. You know what I mean? It was literally just like this music was, while it was washing over you, it was also bludgeoning you in the face like a club. It was incredible. It was so good, man.
It was so powerful.
It was so powerful, so amazing. The records, I'm kind of a novice to Sly and the Family Stone, and Mike Sline as well, the principal songwriter and guitar player for the band, frontman. The things that I have listened to are not so much the vibe of what they're doing right now. Like right now, it seems like this is kind of like a new chapter, a new evolution of the band and the music in comparison to what's everything in the back catalog. Incredible though, man. Incredible. They do also supply earphones, or I'm sorry, earplugs, like ear protection, I want to say, because it is so incredibly loud that there's moments where it's almost like, but in the best way possible. I mean, it was great. It was such a good show. I had such a good time.
Yeah, we wanted to shout it out.
So check them out.
Did they play Everyday People?
Huh? No, they didn't play Everyday People.
Great pun name, right?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, they played 7 songs, and I think he said that 6 of them had never been played before. There was a moment where he played a guitar solo with a drumstick. It just got wild and crazy, and it was absolutely amazing.
Performed in front of a projection movie, which was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like a movie of like cut shots, and it was...
He did reference what movie it was from, too, at one point. I didn't catch it, though.
Yes, it was like an artist film that played while they were playing, and it added so much texture to what they were doing. So great show. Fantastic. I would recommend, if you are into loud rock music, to check out Sly and the Family Stoned, and some of their music is more that's available, like you said, is more of like acoustic, improvising with like some piano and stuff. It's more relaxing and easygoing. So check those out as well. Yeah,
check them out. So to wrap it up, once again, remember to like and subscribe and comment and share this podcast with your friends. And gentlemen, until next time. This has been Get in the Garage.
Have a good week at school, everybody.
Were we supposed to say something?
I don't know. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
This has been a presentation from the Wasted Robot Network. For more information and links to other shows, please visit www.wastedrobotrecords.com/podcasts.